This is a difficult time for us as a country. And I think that means we need to be clear-eyed about the implications of it. Difficult times make for difficult decisions. We are contending with something we've never had to contend with before. In the news business, yes, we are covering an election, which we do all the time, but we're also covering bad actors trying to use the rights and privileges of a democracy to end democracy. The chief threat among them now is not the rioters and the kooks, but the slick political professionals who are turning their considerable talents to laundering violently revolutionary claims that America's elections aren't real, that election results aren't real, and that they shouldn't be respected. We are contending with this now, not from William Dudley Pelley's brown shirt militias, right? But from the multi-billion-dollar massive political operation of one of the two governing parties of the United States of America.
I think something different about this current election cycle, that you didn't see enough of in the last two election cycles, is the mainstream media is just sounding the alarm bells of fascism.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country.
This is fascist rhetoric. The worries about polluting the blood of the superior race go as a standard of Nazism. It's not just the Nazis, it's also fascists in Italy. Mussolini literally talked about killing rats, to go back to Trump's use of vermin in an earlier speech. He talked about killing rats who were bringing infectious diseases and communism into Italy. So, this is fascist rhetoric, and he's using it for a very precise purpose. But we also want to, ask why he's using it now so often. And unfortunately, the Trump campaign's made it very clear what they want to do to immigrants, mass deportations, mass detentions, likely abuses and violence in those operations. And, dehumanizing immigrants, which is what this language does, is a way to get Americans prepared now to accept these repressions later on.
It's fun to call Donald Trump an evil piece of, and how his minions are just evil, racist people. But Stephen Miller, just a whole new category.
New reporting from Axios says that Miller has a new mission should Mr. Trump win re-election. Miller wants to dramatically change how the Department of Justice looks at the issue of race, dismantling civil rights era laws to turn the focus on what Miller and his allies call anti-white racism.
Don't let them fool you. This is right out of the beer hall push playbook.
Yeah, essentially what he wants to do is, in response to the Black Lives Matter era, he wants to make the federal government be all lives matter, which essentially is, if there's any program, not just in the government, but in private enterprise that is meant to benefit minorities, make sure to remedy some past injustices of racism, he is basically saying that is implicitly discriminating against white people. And he's already started this. He's already started suing. He filed a civil rights complaint under the Civil Rights Act of 1964 against the NFL for their Rooney Rule, which requires you to interview minority candidates for open coaching positions, arguing that it's inherently discriminating against non-minority or white candidates who want those jobs.
Look at Stephen Miller. Now imagine a better example of just white male fragility. Oh wait, a better example.
What he wants to do is, and what they do is they justify it as saying, we're going to make civil rights era laws colorblind. And so we are going to, and that these laws have not been used to defend white people.
Yeah. Exactly. The crazy thing is that Stephen Miller isn't on the fringes of the MAGA movement. He's lockstep in with everyone, what everyone thinks in terms of this, white male fragility. White people are under attack. I love the white male fragility because it just, on its, it walks around like, hey, like we're the last real men left, right? We're the last real men in this world. At the same time, like, they're scared of everything. Show me something they aren't scared of. They're scared of, cities, terrified cities. Like someone's just gonna go, the fairy dust and fentanyl is gonna just go right in their face and they're gonna turn gay. That's, okay. That sounds like an exaggeration. I don't think it is. What aren't they scared of? Like they think that they can be turned gay, but they're so tough. right? Like just, they're the last straight men out there.
So you would like to see things go back to before the Civil Rights Movement?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, where people have their freedom in this country.
Well, certain groups didn't have as much at the time, right?
Right. They didn't have as much at the time. But we still got to get back.
I mean, I gotta say, the billionaires have just done an amazing job of distracting us and scaring everyone to death that, you know, it's trans people, it's immigrants, it's this, rather than like the billionaire class. I mean, that's my only way forward is like, just, you need someone, you know, who is gonna, you know, unite everyone under a class banner and, you know, make this a class war and not, you know, this whole culture war nonsense. But like, this has been pointed out online, and I think more people need to point this out, that there's this weird contradiction, it's this paradox, like we're, you know, the beta cocks, we live in the liberal cities, but at the same time, the liberal cities are just crime ridden. I mean, everyone, you know, there's just crime, there's shooting, there's bail reform, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, you know, have just claimed territory, Bloods and the Crips. At the same time, you know, we're not tough at all. And we live in these. We're the ones walking home at night alone and all of that. But they're the tough ones because they're somewhere else and they don't go anywhere fully without being fully armed. Doesn't really make sense, like when you like break it down. But I guess it's not supposed to make sense.